come into our communities like they are on safari in Africa.
700,000 stops!
We say no to the racist cops!
Once you put the word safe and we're getting crime and we're making you safer, you can get away with anything. And particularly if it's being done to historically disenfranchised communities.
We're trying to stop abusive police practices like the stop and frisk policy where the cops just stop people for the heck of it without probable cause. I bet you've had it happen to you, right?
Never happened to me.
You're the first person of color male who said to me that it hasn't
That's because I just got to the city yesterday.
Ah, well, wait till the end of the day.
In white communities where there is crime, we don't paint all of the white civilians as potential criminals. And so it is particularly disturbing to be asked to accept the notion that simply because you're black or brown and poor and you live in a particular community that you should be willing to give up your constitutional rights in order to be safe.
Our analysis would not lead us to conclude that the policies are racist by intent, but they're racist in effect.
Every time Hispanics or Black Americans, they always want to stop and mess with them. But when it's the other race doing it, they don't say nothing. They just have fun, you know, don't get in trouble.
He comes from work, he has a tie on, blazer. I come from work, I have a hoodie on, I have Tim's on, I look like, you know what I'm saying? I look a certain way, and that's what they target.
The quota system, the so-called productivity goals, stop and frisk, the marijuana arrest practices inevitably lead to a racist result.
I don't really know too many cops that have really come to my aid. I've had more cops stop me and harass me more than come to my aid.
They threw me on the wall, handcuffed me. I said, what is that about? Well, we got to check you out, make sure. I'm not a killer or anything. I'm just buying a beer and it's closed. What's the problem?
You go to any court in the city, whether it's family court, criminal court, traffic court, and all you see is black, brown, and beige. Somebody came here from Europe, they said, well, all the criminals are people of color.
If you look at statistics, if you look at what's going on, there's nothing about this that doesn't have to do with race. It doesn't happen in predominantly white neighborhoods, and when it does happen in there, it's usually the black and Latino people that are being stopped.
It says something very ugly, and it's so ugly that we don't want to say it out loud. It's so embedded in American history of race and crime that we don't sometimes recognize that we are thinking this way about a group of people, but the Constitution says in the Bill of Rights that we are all to be seen as individuals. And to take the time to do that means you have to take the time.
2 police cars pulled up and they basically was like, oh, someone robbed a corner store like 2 blocks away and you fit the description. I said, I'm waiting for the bus. Like, why would I rob a store and then wait for the bus?
She told the officers that the person that assaulted her had a hoodie that was blue and orange, and my hoodie was a black hoodie. So how am I fitting the description to a T when my hoodie had no orange in it whatsoever?
If you look at the inner city communities from which African Americans and Latinos come from, they no different than the Bantu stands in South Africa. You know, they cage off. The police presence there is enormous.
They had what was known as a street sweep, where the cops basically just rush out in the street, and if you're just on that block, everyone gets frisked, everyone gets stopped. They actually put us all against the walls, they dropped our pants.
There are people in that community, the majority of the people in that community, who deserve protecting against the few, that it is our responsibility as the police department to figure out who those few are, to apprehend those few so that the rest of the people can live their lives constitutionally, safely, like everybody else.